Madam President, last night history changed. The United States of America struck Iran's nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The United States, the leader of the free world, removed the greatest existential threat facing the free world. Just like our Operation Rising Lion, this was not a war of choice. This action was a necessity. It was a righteous act for the United States, for Israel, for the Middle East, and for the world. So the entire world should say on record today, here and now, thank you. Thank you to the United States for removing the greatest threat to global security. Thank you, President Trump, for acting when so many hesitated. Thank you for protecting the free world with strength and with moral clarity. Now, some come here to denounce the United States and Israel. So let me ask you, where were you? Where were you when Iran raced toward the bomb? Where were you when it enriched uranium far beyond the point of civilian usage? When it buried entire fortress beneath mountain to prepare for our extermination? Where were you when Iran turned negotiation into theater and deceit into strategy? You were silent. You were complicit. You were afraid. You were bystanders. Months ago, I sat before this council and called for a coalition of the courageous. I called for a coalition with the moral clarity and strength to confront the greatest threat our world has seen since the Second World War. Last night, the leader of the free world acted with that courage. The United States acted, not just for itself, but for every nation that values freedom over radicalism. For every nation whose children deserve to grow up without the shadow of a nuclear disaster hanging over their heads. Now, the world must follow suit. Madam President, we have heard many calls for diplomacy today in this chamber. We have heard the Secretary General calls for de-escalation. You cannot ignore that diplomacy was tried over and over. The United States led that effort. Many nations here in this room engaged in diplomacy with determination and good faith. But the regime in Tehran had other plans. It used the negotiating table as camouflage, a delay tactic, a way to buy time while building missiles and enriching uranium. Iran negotiated agreements it never intended to keep. It made commitments it never honored. It answered deadlines with defiance and met oversight with obstruction. The free world gave it every chance. We gave it months, we gave it years, we gave it every possible off-ramp. Iran would not move. So it had to be moved. The regime goal was never peaceful energy. Its goal was death and destruction. Its nuclear program was not a diplomatic puzzle. It was a loaded gun pointed at the heart of the international system and the stability of the world. To those who now fake concern and cry escalation, we say, this is what the last line of defense looks like, when every other line has failed. Make no mistake, the cost of inaction would have been catastrophic. A nuclear Iran would have been a death sentence just as much for you as it would have been for us. Madam President, while Iran fired rockets at synagogues, mosques, schools, and homes, the United States acted with precision, as does Israel. Israel's targets are not cities. They were not civilians. They were not homes or schools. They are ballistic missile launchers and nuclear sites. This is a moral difference between us and them. They seek chaos. we seek order. They build weapons to destroy the world. We build partnerships to protect it. As you all know, we have already gained air superiority across Iranian skies. We have acted with purpose. We have acted with restraint. And we will act with the moral clarity that has always defined our people. Iran's reach extends far beyond our borders. It arms militias in Iraq. It commands terror in Lebanon. It funds Houthis in Yemen. It plots murder in Europe. And it threatens every capital in the West with its growing arsenal of ballistic missiles. You cannot sit this one out. You cannot condemn the firefighters while the arsonist tries to light more fires. You cannot protect peace by appeasing evil. Colleagues, Israel did not seek this moment. But when that moment came, we did not flinch. We know what happens when the world turns a blind eye to threats too terrible to imagine. This time, we acted. And this time, we were not alone. Let the record show, when the world stood at the edge of a nuclear disaster, America stepped forward. When time ran out, America showed courage. And when the moment came to confront the forces of extinction, America led. Now it is time for the rest of the world to guarantee that the threat of a nuclear Iran never returns. Thank you, Madam President.
Oke kawan-kawan, tadi kita sudah melihat bagaimana di forum PBB salah satu utusan dari negara Israel menjelaskan di forum PBB mengenai apa sekarang yang telah mereka alami dan kondisi negara mereka. Dan dia kayak semacam emosi kawan-kawan memberitahukan kepada forum PBB dalam di mana kalian pada saat kami dikejar bom, atau yang lebih tepatnya sekarang mereka lagi diserang oleh negara Iran. Dan dia juga tadi di situ berterima kasih atas tindakan Donald Trump sebagai Presiden Amerika Serikat yang tanpa ragu-ragu membalas serangan Iran. Dan seharusnya ini dengan terjadinya seperti ini, tindakan dari Donald Trump bisa memicu perang dunia ketiga. Kenapa sedemikian kawan-kawan? Karena pasti kita tahu di dalam dunia politik ini ada teman dan ada juga lawan. Ini bukan antar teman biasa kan, antar teman negara dan antar teman negara lah maksudnya begitu. Sehingga harus saling melindungi. Ya, pastinya Iran ada temannya, ya tidak diragukan dengan militernya, dan dengan juga Amerika ada juga teman negaranya dengan militer kuat. Jadi sehingga bisa membuat kehancuran di dunia ini dengan timbulnya perperangan terus. Dan dengan tindakan Donald Trump tersebut, salah satu dari Israel memberikan tanggapannya sebagai terima kasih atas yang telah dilakukan Donald Trump terhadap mereka. Dan juga kawan-kawan kita berpikir-pikir kenapa Israel ini banyak sekali musuh dan banyak sekali negara yang melawan dan negara yang ingin menjatuhkan mereka, dikarenakan kita melihat juga kemarin Israel berlawanan dengan Palestina dan sekarang dengan Iran. Ada apa ini sebenarnya kawan-kawan? Dan bagaimana menurut kawan-kawan? Berikanlah pendapatnya di bawah kolom komentar biar kita bisa diskusi bersama-sama terkait hal ini.